Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about improvisation. It's almost as if improvisation just comes really naturally to some people, while others really need to work hard on it, myself included. We tend to get stuck worrying too much about playing the right or the wrong note, or we simply get stuck within the scale patterns. In this video, I just wanted to show you some of the tricks and tools that really helped me breaking out of the boxes and out of the scale patterns. Let's get right into it. Tip number 1, play on one string. So what we're going to do here is that we're going to limit ourselves to playing on one string only, one string at a time. And the main goal with this exercise is to be able to play the most melodic way possible. And we also do that to sort of avoid playing any licks or patterns that you might already have in your muscle memory. The backing track we've got here is in C major, but it has the feel of a G mixolydian. The scales we're going to use are C major. You can also approach it as C major pentatonic. And you can also use a G major pentatonic. I highly recommend that you would give this a go. Just put on a backing track and try to improvise using one string. It's definitely challenging to try to come up with something interesting, especially if you've been doing it for a while. But there are some ways to do it, and I will show you some tools later in this video. But once you're comfortable with doing this on the B string, you can move on to the E string or the G string and just try to cover all 6 strings. Tip number 2 comes from the same place as tip number 1 in the sense that we're going to continue limiting ourselves. In tip number 1 we did it on one string, but now we are going to do it on 4 frets. And we are going to do that here in that G major pentatonic scale pattern. So I'm basically going to pick out 4 notes or 4 frets from that scale pattern, and I'm going for the D string, 12, 14, and the G string, 12, 14. I'm going to use only those 4 frets, and when I say 4 frets, that means that I can play these 4 notes and I can also bend them if I like, just to make the improvisation a little bit more interesting. And I'm going to play over the same backing track, and let's have a listen to some samples. Definitely tricky to keep this going for a while with these limited options, and we're always going to run out of ideas at some point. But the more you practice this, the better you will get at it. And once you're comfortable with doing this on the D and the G strings, you should move on to the G and the B strings, for example, and so on. Tip number 3, so now that we are limiting ourselves to playing on one string only or just a selected few notes, we need to find ways to be more musical and expressive, and one of the most useful tools we can use is rests, one of the key elements in music in general. Just imagine if you were talking to someone who just talks without rests, just keeps going on and on and on and on and on and on. You will probably lose focus at some point, and in my opinion the same goes with music. I'm generalizing a little bit. Some music can maybe just be like that, and that's perfectly fine. But the way I am approaching improvisation here is almost as if we're having a conversation with the audience or ourselves, or however we want to look at that. So let's have a look at how it would sound if I would just improvise over the backing track and play without any rests. I guess this sounds alright in a way, but it's missing something, so I'm going to try again now. Let's have a listen. I will apply the rests in between and try to make this a little bit more musical. Tip number 4, dynamics. Using dynamics is probably the most expressive way there is to play music, because this is, at the end of the day, the way we speak. We speak quietly and we speak loud, you know, and you do the same with music, and that way the music will be way more effective. Let's say if we're doing that 4-note thing here, just by applying dynamics, it becomes so much more musical, and now I'm actually just playing 2-note. No dynamics, you know, dynamics. You know, everything sounds more interesting. Definitely a good one to work on. How do we work on dynamics? That's a good question. You can obviously just do these exercises, the ones we've been talking about in this lesson. So limiting ourselves to playing on one string, limiting ourselves to playing the 4-note thing, or you could easily just practice your patterns, your scales with dynamics. So on to the 5th and the final tip, follow the chord notes. So the chord progression here is F major, A minor, G, G, F major, C major, G major, G. And what I was doing there was basically just playing the triads on the D, G and B strings, and you could do the same here on the G, B and E strings. A minor, G, G, F, C, G, G. So once you got these under your fingers, you can sort of start mixing them up with pentatonic licks and other things. And so on. Really useful stuff. And if you would like to learn more about these triads, please check out this lesson over here, where I will show you some really cool exercises and show you how you can move these triads all over the fretboard on any set of strings. I will see you there. Thank you for watching.